with conversational hypnosis, what you can expect is potentially you may want to close your eyes and just feel yourself completely relaxing, or you may literally just sit there and stare like that. And it doesn't matter what you do, but what matters is that you just follow what you're meant to do. So I can't tell you what is the best thing for you to do. I'm going to ask questions, and I may repeat a lot of things. I may say things like, that's right, or there we go, things like that. And all you know, all the reason I'm saying that is to sort of help you notice that what you're doing is right. And I'm going to be observing you, what you're doing, like any gestures and stuff like that, and facial movements. That helps me understand it. So I may be saying things, I may be saying, what was that? And then it's just getting you to think. And then when you start to think, you drop into that trance-like state, because trance doesn't have to be, trance generally just be, oh, that's it.
Right, okay.
Right? We're cutting off from the analytical mind. You know, the mind that goes, oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that, because we're wiping that out for the moment, and we're just going to be creative in this moment. Sound good?
Sounds amazing, mate.
Stuff, brother. Awesome stuff. Amazing stuff. So, Chris, is there anything specifically that in business you're struggling with that you know would really help you if you weren't struggling with it?
Yeah, I think even though I've run big businesses, the fear of public speaking has always been there for me. I've always had to delegate it. Like I can do online, sitting down like this, it's okay, but I still get nervous. But the actual concept of standing up on stage in front of other people, it scares the living shit out of me.
Right.
Basically.
So it scares the living shit out of you standing up on stage talking in front of people?
Yeah. Presenting, yeah. Talking, yeah.
Presenting, talking. Okay, perfect. And you know that you can talk. You already know that logically, right?
Yeah.
So what's the issue with this?
I think I'm trying to work out if it's come back from a childhood thing when I was abandoned by my mum or whatever, or, you know, but it's a fear of maybe being found out. I'm imposter syndrome. It's a bizarre concept because I coach all this stuff as well. I think it's the notion of actually standing up and being above somebody else. I get very uncomfortable with that.
So it's actually being physically being above them.
Yeah.
You feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Because in a boardroom setting, sitting down, I chair board meeting. I'm very kind of masculine energy, direct, you know, kind of clear, concise, and authoritative. Mm-hmm. But if I was to stand up and do it, it's almost like because I'm standing up, it just freaks me out.
Right. So sitting down, you can do it, but standing up, you can't.
I think so. Yeah. I feel a lot more comfortable sitting down. I could do exactly the same thing and shit myself standing up.
Right.
Because I feel like I'm more on show. Whereas if I'm sitting down, I just feel like I'm on the same level. I don't know. It's a concept that I still can't get my head around.
Okay, perfect. So standing up, you feel on show. Sitting down, you feel maybe a part of the group you're speaking to.
Yeah, comfortable, a part of it, connected, probably less on show, less exposed in a way. I don't know what it is.
Less exposed. What do you mean by less exposed? No rush.
Less fearful, just more kind of relaxed, in control, in command, and kind of like, I'm trying to get it in my head. I think it's more kind of like I want to guide and teach and mentor, not dictate and kind of like, right. You know, I am your ruler kind of thing. In my head, I got a concept that that's not right for me.
Okay, perfect. So standing up to you is the Kim Jong-un ruler, dictator.
I think so, yeah.
Standing, and then sitting down is more of a guide, a leader, a mentor. Mm. So yeah. Can you see? I know you, Chris. I actually anyone watching this, I actually do know Chris, and I know that all you want is to help people.
Yeah, that's what I do. Yeah,
it is what you do. So why would you want to be seen as the dictator, the ruler, yeah, in a sense? It makes sense that you're scared of that, doesn't it?
It does, but it doesn't help me.
But it doesn't help you, exactly. So because it doesn't help you, where do you feel that urge to step away from the dictatorship of standing up?
I mean, often when I'm presented with this kind of opportunity, initially I'm really up for it, and I'm like, yeah, it's my opportunity to. And then as it gets closer and closer and closer, right at the very end, before I have to do it, I'll back out or drop out or look for an excuse. I've had panic attacks about it in the past. So I wish I could put my finger on that. I think it's an ingrained fear that's very deep rooted inside me.
Where would you say it's deep rooted, like inside of you?
I kind of feel it, like now I'm talking to you, mate, trying to be in tune with it. I can kind of feel it in my sort of stomach area, down, quite low down, and kind of like, yeah, the whole concept of it makes me feel very anxious.
Right, and you said you can feel that now.
Yeah, imagine me doing it. Yeah, I can. Even, I mean, I've done a couple of best man speeches, and somehow I did one best man speech, and I did a speech at my own wedding, but somehow that was fine. So it's one of those weird things that once I'm actually started it, I'm fine. It's that initial kind of like, it's almost like the first 30 seconds of starting it, I shit myself. And when I'm there, I'm fine. And it's just that leap of faith.
It's that leap of faith. What is stopping you from taking that leap of faith?
Fear of getting it up, getting it wrong, looking stupid, looking silly. Even these are all thoughts that aren't necessarily real, but this is what I feel. This is what I feel. It's just, yeah.
Is there a time where that actually happened for you, where you felt as if you did fuck something up, where you did feel stupid in front of people?
No, I mean, I remember one time I used to work in a hardware shop, and I was at college at the time, and my mates came in, and I was really embarrassed, and I was behind the counter, and because I was behind the counter, kind of I ducked down until my redness went away, and it was about 2 minutes, and I was back up, and they were still there. They go, "What were you doing?" Well, it was just obvious. So, but there's never been a physical time when I've things up. There just hasn't been. I don't think, not anything major. I think it stems back from
how did you
the
feel
rejection.
That time where you hid under the counter?
Right, it's just beetroot red, extremely vulnerable, nervous, shy, like completely kind of like judged. But actually, they popped into the shop. They were delighted to see me, but I was embarrassed because I was in a green hardware jacket and thought they would be judging me, and kind of like. So I've got this, or I've had, I still call it, this kind of fear of judgment, really quite badly still.
Judgment.
Mm.
Fear of judgment of you working in a new place, fear of judgment of people, what they're going to say about you because you're doing something. And even though logically that sounds ludicrous, because like you said, they didn't judge you. Logically, that. But somewhere,
yeah, I mean,
that beetroot red killed you inside at that moment, didn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when I go into my clients, I can walk into an office full of people and talk to them, and it's a really strange. I've never been able to work it out. 45 now, so it's this weird concept where deep down I know that the people really just want to listen to me. It's an ego thing, probably. They want to they want to hear me. They want they want to learn from me. But my ego's blocking me from saying, well, what if I? It's yeah. I need to sort it out.
What if I'm on show again? What if I'm in front of everyone, going red, feeling embarrassed,
forgetting my words, or not knowing what to say, or yeah, that kind of stuff.
Okay. So when that happened, what was going on in your mind?
I'm going to be found out here, or oh my god, they can see me, they can see me, they can see me, they can see the real me.
They can see the real me. Over and over again.
I think so, yeah.
I'm going to be found out for what specifically?
It's a mystical thing in my head that I don't even know what it is. I mean, just I think it does stem back from, you know, any child that has their mother leave them or abandon them. I'm kind of, I'm over it because I've done what I've done, but I'm kind of, maybe I'm not, because I think it might be linked to that, in terms of like, that's a rejection, right? So I think it's a fear of being rejected or laughed at, or you're not good enough kind of thing, because that was what is inherently ingrained in me by my mother. Left me in the caravan all night, and I haven't seen her since. So I've had to deal with that, and I've done quite well to deal with it. But I think it's still ingrained in me somewhere that if I stand up on stage, everyone's going to go, "Who's this guy?"
Right. And how does that make you feel right now saying that?
It makes me feel like, what's the point of even doing it? But then I get these affirmations and these visions in my head that I'm going to do a TEDx talk. I'm standing up and I'm going to stand it. I keep getting it in my head that this speech I'm going to be doing at some point in my life is going to be so powerful and so good. It's going to be like a stadium full of, it's almost as if it's my calling, but I'm building it up so much, and it's almost like if I don't do that, I haven't done what I set out to do, and it's kind of like,
right,
it's playing me a lot. It's like, actually, why would that define anybody? It shouldn't define me. But if it's making me feel like it is, and it's chipping away at me.
Chipping away at you. And it's like what you want to happen is those visions in your head, but what you think might happen is those visions of you in that hardware store, right?
Yeah.
So now it's just which one's heavier.
Yeah.
Usually if there's logic involved and there's emotion involved, emotion will always win.
Yeah.
So when you think, how would you explain to me to feel those emotions that you felt in that hardware store? If you were just saying to me, Max, this is exactly how you have to feel what I'm feeling in that moment, what would I have to do?
Well, do you want me to say how I felt again? Yeah. Yeah. I felt like a child, like a little 3 or 4 year old little boy who was inferior, who wasn't worthy, who was inferior, wasn't worthy, was different, was just a bit of a victim, kind of like, just like, oh my God, you know, I work in a hardware shop, you know, you know, you're going to judge me for that, kind of like really kind of obscure thinking. But that's you know, just very, very, very kind of just rejected, really.
Rejected like a 3 or 4 year old little child.
Like I was by my mother, like kind of like, you know, you're not good enough. Even my mother doesn't think I'm good enough. So why the hell would my friends think I'm good enough?
Why would they?
Especially if I'm in a hardware shop, especially if I'm, you know, wearing a green jacket. You know, at college I can be someone else. I can wear my normal clothes and act the fool and be pleasant and be nice and all. But in a hardware shop at £6 an hour, they're finding the real me. It's all that kind of stuff.
Right. And who is the real Chris?
The real Chris is a very confident, articulate, intelligent, emotionally intelligent, business savvy, loving father, man that's got loads to offer the world and is doing that. General.
So what's scary about people finding out about that?
Well, I think as I'm getting older, I'm happy that they're finding out about that, but I recognise I've still got this block. So it's kind of like with each day, week, month, year that passes, it's getting better, progressively better, and better and better and better. And as we both know, it doesn't happen overnight, or maybe it does, but I think it's a journey, it's a process. Yeah, and I always say I'd sooner regret something I've done that I haven't done. So 100%. I want to conquer this. It's not as if I don't want to, but
So where
Yeah, I
do
think
you feel like that little 3 or 4 year old boy, Chris?
say again.
Where in your body do you feel like that little 3 or 4 year old boy?
I think in my heart.
Your heart.
And in my stomach a little bit as well.
And in your stomach. And we're always told to follow our heart or our stomach or our intuition sometimes, aren't we?
Yeah.
So when we think about that and we feel like that inferior 3 or 4 year old boy, our heart and our intuition is telling us to follow it, right? So how would you explain this to me? Well, like go into more detail. I'm trying to understand this 3 or 4 year old Chris, this 3 or 4 year old boy. What happened at 3 or 4 for you?
Well, that was the time when I was living in a caravan. Me, my brother, my dad, and my mum. My dad used to work in the evenings, in night times on the railway. He came home at some point in the morning. I think it was 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was naked, hanging outside the window of the caravan. My brother had raided the fridge, was sick everywhere, and mum had just left us there all night, took whatever possessions my dad had, and we never saw her again. So I was 3, my brother was 4. So at that point,
And you were naked. You were open and exposed.
Yeah. I've never thought of it like that. Yeah.
In front of everyone.
Yeah. And then I was fostered for 4 years because my dad wasn't emotionally capable, financially capable to look after me and my brother. So kind of like from the ages of 0 to 7. And then he took us back, and then he remarried, and his wife was very abusive in different ways to me as well. So kind of that gave me led me to the path of kind of attracting women that weren't good for me.
Right.
But I've sorted all that out now, and that's all good. But I've still got this fear of, even though I'm an ex-CEO of a multi-million-pound business, and I'm an NED, and I'm a coach, I do all this kind of, I'm a podcast host, I do all this kind of, so on the face of it, in terms of confidence in front of other people, I'm probably in the high percentile of people that do it. There's still this gap of fear of
being naked and exposed.
Yeah.
So when you were naked and exposed at 3 years old, such a young age, do you know what was going through your mind?
I don't think I do. 42 years ago, I think probably not at the specific time. I don't think it'll be easy to remember that, but I think deep down subconsciously, it's probably always been in the back of my mind or in my heart, in my stomach, that I'm not good enough because of what my mum did. So it's that. Well, I know I'm good enough. I know I'm better than good. I'm better than good enough.
What was that for? What does that mean?
It means that I'm amazing. I'm incredible. It's good enough doesn't cut the mustard. I'm way better than that.
Way better than that. I know that. Yeah. So what happens when you think about that 3-year-old Chris, exposed, naked, abandoned, rejected? What comes up for you there, Chris?
I feel that I want to talk to him, that version of me, nurture him, tell him that I love you, Chris. It's all okay, and it's a gift what happened to you. It's put you where you are now, and it's made you the person you are today. It was meant to happen, and if anything, it's a good thing because it's made you
incredible,
the man that you are today. So it's just connecting to him.
And what happens when you go on stage? What do you say to yourself?
Well, I think if I was on stage, I would probably say to myself, before I said my first word of my speech, whatever I was going to say, I was like, I love you. I'll probably say, I love you, Chris. Not to the Chris now, but to the Chris then.
Yeah.
And then that would carry me. So I'd probably talk to my 3-year-old self. That would be my audience, I think, thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
No one else would be. If it was one person or 50,000 people, I'd like it to be talking to the 3-year-old Chris. And I think that would be the way that I would conquer this, because he's the only person that really matters.
He is the only person that really matters, because he's the one struggling.
Yeah.
He's the one that was caused all this trauma and pain.
Mm.
There's only ever one 3-year-old Chris. There was only ever one 3-year-old Max.
Yeah.
And that 3-year-old Chris did go through a lot of pain, trauma, struggles. And he wasn't given the validation he deserved and probably needed as well.
No. Validation's an interesting thing, because now you said that, and a lot of people do this on social media, but I think, you know, I don't post a validation, but maybe I do a little bit, and I think everyone's guilty of that. But so the validation point is part of that as well.
Amazing. So what happens to your heart and stomach when you think about 3-year-old Chris now?
Well, there's just a sense of protection, warmth, and just nurturing him and being very proud of him, basically. You know,
Very
feeling
proud.
that, you know, that he has taught the 45-year-old version of Chris a hell of a lot. And that 3-year-old is, like, even my foster mum said that I was the adult at 3 years old. I was the parent to my older brother, because I had to do that for him as well. So I became an adult pretty much at that point. Certain way, you know. So it's like, you know, incredible. He's an incredible 3-year-old human being.
Was taught an adult so much.
Yeah, and he's still doing so.
He's still doing so. It's fascinating, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. What do you wish was said to 3-year-old Chris?
Oh, I think that I love you. You're incredible. I support you. I trust you. All that kind of. I don't think I was ever told that. My dad was not affectionate at all. So I had no nurturing. You know, no kind of an semblance of a family unit. No kind of. Yeah, it was just, even my stepmother she was actually she was mentally retarded. She actually was. So she had a mental age of about 7. So her diet was chocolate and Diet Coke, and she didn't know how to converse. But what she did do, she knew how to shout and scream and hit me and stuff like that, and do other stuff. It was a really weird kind of, like, she was my stepmother, but it was just a bamboozling concept to even have a conversation with her, because I was talking to someone who was just like, she had a mental age of a 7-year-old, but she was my stepmom. It was very difficult, very challenging.
How did that make you feel?
Well, it was. I mean, it's kind of. I had to tolerate it, because my dad fell in love with her, and he then took her side, and it was kind of like, she stopped me seeing my friends, wouldn't let me go out. It was very. It's kind of like I felt trapped in my own home. So I left when I was like 14 or 15, and it just made me feel, again, it was just like, just very different from everyone. It felt like everything was a fight, like, fucking hell. Like, my mum walks out on me, and then I'm fostered, then I go out to my dad's, and then I'm abused, and then I can't, and then it's like, then I was, so, you know, we lived in the council house, I had no money, and it was just like, I was basically fending for myself. But then I think now that's what's made me, in terms of, like, I had to cook my own dinners, you know, everything was like, everything myself, everything. So in a way, it's a gift, man, because I wouldn't say that's the ideal route, but it certainly taught me how to stand on my own 2 feet and do things off my own back, and not feel like, not expect things from people, you know.
And how does that relate to feeling exposed and judged and rejected?
I used to get really, really, really embarrassed. Like when I actually somehow got into a grammar school, which was a savior really. So if I went to the other school, I think it would have been a disaster. But I used to get my friends to drop. We used to go out and do stuff, and I'd get my friends to drop me off and pretend my house was another house around the corner, and walk into the garden, and then walk out again, and go back to the camp. I was just so embarrassed. No one ever came to my house. I was just so embarrassed. I just felt embarrassed by my home, my parents, my dress. It was, you know, we had no clothes, so my dress sense was like. So I just felt embarrassed with everything that I had, really.
You felt embarrassed with everything that you had.
Where I lived, what I wore, what my dad lost all his hair when he was 16, all hair on his body. So he wore this massive wig, and he looked odd. It's like every time I walked down the street with him, he got these weird look. This was like obviously 30 years ago. It was really, and it was like, yeah, I had free dinners at school. So I had to used to queue up for my crappy little sandwiches. So it was all these kind of things where I just felt like fucking different, man. Felt, you know, very inferior, and kind of like I got on with it and did all right. So I felt exposed because I didn't have any parents really. I didn't have any money. Didn't live in a nice house. Didn't have any routine. Was very, very, very shy. And fell in love very quickly with girls and stuff like that. And yeah, so it's like, yeah, I felt very different and very inferior.
Very different and inferior and exposed. Or you didn't want that to be exposed, did you?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't want anyone to see where I lived or anything like that. But that forced me to go out, and I did a paper round, worked in the petrol station, and I did 3 different jobs whilst I was at school. It made me kind of an entrepreneurial kind of mindset, and kind of made me tough in that respect, you know. So on one hand, it was a good thing, but not at the time. I didn't necessarily know that, and I got into drugs and got involved with the wrong people, but still managed to, you know, build an amazing career, not build a massive business, all that stuff.
There's still the gist of not wanting to expose what's behind the front that you put on, right?
Yeah, because then even when I then evolved, I got married, and I before I met my now ex-wife, I had a 800 grand Georgian townhouse that I owned. I dug out the basement and put a pool table in there, and a spa and all this shit. It was amazing. And even that, I was a bit embarrassed by what people would think of that house. And compared to all my mates, it was like they was like, wow, what's this? I was like, well, you know, do you like it? You know, it kind of, it got me thinking that almost no matter what I had or did, it would never be good enough. Right. Range Rovers, you know, but it wasn't the latest Range Rover, so they might think it's not. It's like all this kind of, even though it was the latest, it got me thinking actually. So it wasn't about the quality of my house. There's much more an inherent thing. It's like, when is this going to end? I think about like, so when I got to like 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, 25 million on my business, I didn't get a massive, oh wow. So it kind of like, it felt like no matter what I could do, it wouldn't fulfill me. But maybe was I doing that to, I don't know.
No, you're on it. You're on it. You're getting to it.
Was I doing that to impress my mum? But then I tracked my mum down about 4 or 5 years ago. Met her for the first time in like 40 years, and she was just like a shell of a woman, and it's like she had no kind of explanation for it. So, you know, kind of half said sorry, didn't even bother asking for my number. I was like, okay. So it kind of like, I think losing my business made me realize actually what is important. It's about how I feel about me, yeah. and not wanting to put my children through what I went through. So it's given me a massive motivation there. So so I'm much more accepting about material things now. They don't bother me as much, but I guess I've still got a long way to go, I think.
So you can accept that it's nothing to do with the material things in life.
Yeah.
Can you accept the 3-year-old Chris that was exposed, that was naked, that was open, that was inferior? Can you accept that he was just a child at that point? Can you accept that he did nothing wrong?
Oh yeah, but yeah, I can accept that he did nothing wrong. Yeah.
What happens when you think about that 3-year-old child again?
There's no blame attached to him. There's no embarrassment.
No embarrassment. He was just
now I think about it. Yeah.
Just a child, wasn't it? Just like your kids, they're just children.
Yeah.
We can't pull up kids for things they don't know, especially things they haven't done.
Yeah.
That's what's made you into such a great dad. That's what's made you into such a great businessman. All because 3-year-old Chris was left naked, open and exposed.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Doing perfect. Almost there.
Yeah, it feels good to go back to that and realize that, yeah, I'm a superstar, really, and he is. It's an amazing feeling to feel that. It's good.
And ironically, you're even wearing the color of a star right now. You are a bright star.
Choice of color.
The yellow. You've got the yellow on.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
Going back to him is so important, man.
So important. Something that you could even do regularly, just to reassure him, just like you probably reassure your kids, just like you probably reassure partners at times when they don't feel it.
Yeah.
There's one day that they eventually feel it, don't they?
Yeah.
We shouldn't rely on that external validation to eventually feel that, should we?
No. But I think if I'm telling them these things now, it just really, really helps, because I never had that myself. So
exactly. And you know what it's like to not have it. So who better to tell someone than someone who's not had something that they've now got?
Yeah, sometimes you learn the best from how not to do things, don't you?
Exactly.
It's hard to digest this, but I think it's going to be it's already really powerful. I think I'd probably need to, I'd go in and do this again and again and again. You know what I mean?
That's it. And if you feel like there's anything you want to do and say sort of off the camera and you want to go inwards, then feel free to go inwards and just say whatever you need to say to Chris.
So, because I didn't go into it, or I probably did go into a trance. I think it's different for each person, isn't it? It is what it is. But yeah. It'd be good to play this back as well. I think to watch this back. I think it'd be quite good for me to watch this back as well.
Yeah, I can send you the link. I can send you the file. So where in your body, what do you feel when you focus? Just put your hand over your heart and your hand over your stomach. What do you feel when you do that?
A massive sense of ease, calm, and serenity.
Ease, calm, and serenity.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It feels quite good. It feels good, man. I feel warmth. I feel the love coming through.
Beautiful.
The peace. Yeah.
What can you do every day or regularly to ensure that 3-year-old Chris feels protected, feels at ease, feels calm, and feels serenity?
I think breathe, talk to him, just tune into him and just tell him that I love him, he's loved, and he's amazing, he's incredible. Thank him, and just yeah, I mean, I'm lucky to have him around.
And every day that will just become more apparent. It's like scripture, like written on paper. The more you go over it, the more bold it becomes. The more you go over it, the more bold it becomes. And eventually you know exactly what you're looking at.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly who you are.
Yeah.
So despite being open and exposed, that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want people to know the real you.
Yeah. Lean into that. And by tapping into Chris and kind of embedding the scripture, it's just going to get stronger and stronger, and then the fear is going to diminish, and the confidence is going to increase, and it's going to yeah. So it's just consistent practice of just not practice, but what a great thing to do every morning. Talk to my inner child. Amazing.
And is there any
benefit from
that 3-year-old Chris wants from you that 45 doesn't know yet?
I just think to know that I'm there. I think
to know that you're there, and you'll always be there.
Yeah. So never forget him and leave him, and just be a priority and a port of call, which he's never had. Always, we didn't have from the mother, and maybe not the father as well.
And he's always got you, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's always got me. Yeah,
always got you.
Mother and the father,
and the grandmother, all in one.
Yeah,
amazing.
Definitely.
So despite being through all of the painful hardships, 45-year-old Chris is scared of public speaking.
It's a bit, isn't it, really? What going on about? You know. Yeah, it's all good, mate. No, that was brilliant. I really enjoyed that, man. That was really good.